Hey guys, my name's Nate and I am the producer at Chance 6 Studios. I also go by Nancy at HR on the Discord.
Hi guys, my name is Tim. I'm the CFO for Chance 6 Studios.
I'm Steven, also Nosters, and I do the marketing here at Chance 6 Studios.
Hi everybody, I'm Mario. I'm creative director at Chance 6 Studios.
Hi everybody, I'm Sean, and I'm the founder at Chance 6 Studios. All right.
Cool. So we are recording. We've been recording, so we can start.
So of course you're gonna have all of our nonsense, right? What to you is Generation Overdrive?
So Generation Overdrive is basically a PvP mobile battler where players go head-to-head 1v1, and they play in what's cool about it is it's this squad battler. So 2 players, they each choose a squad of 3 cybernetically enhanced fighters. We're calling them drivers right now, and they're basically these cyberpunk superheroes of the future, and you pit them head-to-head against other opponents. And what separates our game from other kind of battlers on mobile right now is the fact that it's real time. So it's like real skill based, real time action. Your fingers are not occluding the action on top of the screen. So it's got a really interesting interaction model, if you will, so that you can pull off these real skill based timing reflex moves, but your hands are not on the screen like you find with some other kind of battlers on the market that are like fighters, let's say. So in a nutshell, it's a PvP battler where players go head to head in real time with a squad of really cool, funky heroes. And when I say cyberpunk, it's not like futuristic shotgun and pistol. We're talking like metallic robotic arm, swarms of nanobots, and cyclone tornado, you know what I mean? And these really cool, fun, over-the-top actions. So it's really fun to, in that frenetic moment-to-moment gameplay, see this spectacle that you're creating as you're battling other players. You know what I mean? So
Is it that frenetic gameplay? Is that what you're trying to get at with that real time versus I'm assuming turn-based?
Yeah, absolutely. At the same time, we're trying to make sure that it's accessible to a lot of players, and it's not super like the skill-based component prevents some more mainstream casual players to have fun as well. But very simply, very easily, very accessible. It's possible for you to create a lot of cool action on screen. With the different characters that you can choose, right? So it's like, part of the fun is what squad do you put together, that do you bring into the match, because the different classes, the different abilities, how you combine them together. They're each individually very strong and unique. They each have their own kind of specialty, but together they form an interesting mix, and it alters your strategy as you go into battle. So that's part of the fun. I might have missed your question at the top. What did you did you say?
No, you got it. You were kind of veering off a little bit, but it's okay.
I'll do that.
So, from your opinion, what I'll go with Steven on this one. What are some of the pros and cons of going real time versus turn based?
I think in real time, the biggest advantage you have is there's not time to think about your actions. And so in turn-based games, there's a lot of very calculated moves. And those are things like chess, things like checkers. And I think ours is more like a sport where there's that back and forth. There's a flow to the game. It feels very living. It's not this, hey, I'll come back when it's my turn, or you have to wait. There's no waiting involved. And I think that really opens up the door to, showcase skills, different sets of strategies, especially when it comes to, practicing and gaining a skill set that's more than just following. You can't follow a rule book if something's live, right? There's a certain level of reactions, a certain level of instincts that are involved in real-time gaming that you might not get in turn-based.
You've always been very kind of pro the player. How do you think that the player will react to having a more real-time frenetic experience versus a more calculated turn-based experience?
I think for the players it's going to be something new and challenging. It's something that I believe, to this day, whenever I come up with a match against Nancy over here, it's tough. It's not something that you can have just this outline, this rule book, something that you can rely upon every match. And having that diversity, having each match feel different, I think that's something very cool that we're offering the players, that no match is really going to be the same. I mean, you could play the same player 100 times, and is he going to be able to land that ability? Is he going to get his ultimate this game? Is he going to be able to dodge? As players improve, those matches become so inherently different, and I think players will really enjoy the fact that, like, not only will they see their skills improve, but they'll see such a diversity of how they can win. It's not just, okay, here's this one way you can win, but there's such a multitude of ways, and that's what really gets me excited, is exploring that depth, that opportunity of maybe trolling a player and beating with all supports, or doing a standard meta. There's options, and ultimately I think that's what we're giving players, the option.
Tim, do you feel like there's a lot of options there?
Yeah, I think Steven, that's a good point, because when you have things in real time, it's a different element in itself, where even if you're fighting the same opponent with the same, the same cards or the same characters, because of the timing, all of that can change. Meaning if you make this attack, or if you try to, do this combo, and they dodge it right on the spot because they were able to, let's just say when you're attacking at this time and the defender is unable to counter that, it's a time variable. It depends on time. It depends on the reaction. So, to me, I like the real time because it adds a great layer of depth to the game, where even if you're playing the same guy with your same characters versus their same characters, the battle will still be different, and that in itself, for me, is very gratifying. The additional element, or the additional piece that I want to add to this is, when it's timed, there's a bit of a nervousness that kind of comes into play, where you feel like, oh snap, I got no time, or that anything can happen. And so I that's what I like. I mean, one of the games that I kind of gravitate towards is Clash, and
Is that so?
yeah. And so I'm gonna speak to my
Says every time, right?
And so and that's because I have my front, like my attack, my first attack, and then my defensive tactics. And so I pinpoint it until, when my elixir hits a certain number, that's when I start to attack. So for me, my attacks and my defense are time based. So that's why I feel like that time variable, that the PvP being real time really adds a great layer of depth to the game. And
do you feel like this is a game, Generation Overdrive is a game that you're going to be able to get good at?
Yeah. So yes. Short answer, yes. But
But you're not good yet, right? That's what he's saying.
It's no Clash. Let's put it that way.
I mean, not that I'm gonna get good at it, but I feel like it's a game that I want to be good at too. I feel like the game that we're trying to come up with, Generation Overdrive, just to kind of expand on what Mario has talked about with Geno. I feel like it's got elements of many PvP games. We're like taking all the goods into this Geno, and so yes, the setting, the backdrop is a little cyberpunky, but in essence, it's a lot of some of the games that we like, and we kind of mesh them into Geno.
That's the best way to do it.
I think to expand a little bit too on what you were saying about, it was a couple moments ago, but you were talking about the difference between why you like real time as compared to turn-based, and I think to go off of that, I think I agree with you. I also think part of it too is that when you're in the moment and you're making these calls, you don't have a lot of time to think. It makes those moments so much more exciting, so much more oh shit moments, oh wow moments, Whereas when you plan something out, I've played a lot of turn-based games. No, they're fun too in their own sense, but when you plan something out, it just doesn't have that lasting. It doesn't have that immediate like oh my gosh moment, And I think that's kind of what we're trying to build towards, is like having those moments with the characters and having all those different types of counters that you can do, and having those mainly oh crap moments. Kind of like, I mean, it's kind of a mesh between like a MOBA and I don't know, what would you say? There's not a lot of 3-lane battles that are like PvP focused, but a MOBA and a 3v3 laner type game.
It's like a fighter. It's almost like we joke that we call it like combat tennis, almost.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe because I think it's a challenge to even accomplish it in a way that players can play it effectively, right? And I feel like some of it feels like Arch Hero, like a roguelike that's PvP, but then has MOBA aspects. It has a lot of, I think, cool characteristics. Tim, I think, brought it up. Like, we're taking a lot of good out of PvPs. In my mind, I was trying to think of, if someone, like, the action pace of it. It's like we took all the baseball, like how long a baseball game is, and you just get to be in the batting cage. Like, it's all action all the time. That's how I view our game.
So, Nate, obviously, this is, being in your wheelhouse has been, as production, you've seen a lot of the development go on. Has there been a lot of issues with bringing this kind of complex MOBA-esque style game, into a real-time battler kind of experience?
Oh man, yeah, I'm sure Sean, you could talk probably a long time about this one too. Yeah,
I'm not going to though.
So yeah, there was obviously issues with lag, like server-side lag, for a while. I think too because we're on mobile devices, so some people might be on Wi-Fi, some people might be on 3G or 4G, so that creates issues. And also depending where they are, are they in 3G in South America and we're on Wi-Fi in the Irvine offices? That's going to create an issue. So trying to figure that out and kind of connect those and make that an even playing field. And a lot of those server issues are at a much better point than they were. I'm sure there's still some improvements that can be made. Talking to Stefano, our developer, there's some things he wants to do before soft launch, obviously, but we're at a really good place right now.
When Stefano's in Brazil, have you played against him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you guys feel like lag is an issue there? I mean, obviously he's got a far lesser connection than our office. What's our office? It's like 1 gig connection. It's insane. It's
fiber. Yeah,
it's like a fiber connection. What's the experience like playing there versus someone in Brazil?
I don't think so. Initially there were problems, but those have been worked out, and I don't think Stefano experiences much lag at all. I mean, there might be some, but those are issues that we experience too. I think the connection between us and Brazil has been resolved in that sense.
Yeah, it's really
good.
Good,
Huge improvement.
Yeah.
do you feel like that's going to be sufficient enough as it stands? If if we were to produce remote servers in various locations to help mesh that network, create that closer tie, do you think those are issues that we can completely overcome?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we can. I think we definitely have some steps to take, but we can definitely overcome that.
Cool. Is this a game that you guys want to play with your friends?
Big time.
Mario, why?
Big time. I have a bias towards action games, right? So I like those action, fast-paced kind of games. And I think with friends, this is the kind of game where you guys were talking about it with the turn-based versus real-time. The emotion the peaks of the emotions that you get in those moment-to-moment choices, especially as the timer's counting down, are a lot of fun. There's those high stress, high anxiety moments, and with the kind of characters that we have and the kind of moves that we have, and that those varieties of actions, I think even us when we play in the office, we're pretty loud about it. You know what I mean? So when we were in the office,
Yeah.
And when I'm here and I'm playing, you don't hear me, but I'm shouting. It's a lot of fun. So
We can't hear you. You're in a couple towns away.
So
I hope I can't hear you.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's just-
Yep.
Go ahead, Tim.
Go ahead.
No, I agree with you, Mario. I feel like it's very easy to kind of get a game with your friends, or in my case with my kids, and we just kind of sit around in the living room, and we're I gotta admit we're like a Clash family, right? So we all play Clash, but
Really?
2 times.
Are you?
but the beauty is the attacks that we have are, I'd say, like we've graduated from Clash, and now we want something like more fantastic. And I feel like this game's gonna deliver that. And so when I'm able to deliver a direct hit to my kids or to my friends, and they're like right in the same same room as me, it's like you can really kind of rub it in their face, like.
Yeah, I think the most
I
fun.
like it.
I think the most fun we ever had playing it was when we did that tournament together, where it was like we're all right there, right? We did like this
Right.
bracket, and going through that was a fun time.
That was Christmas of last year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Coming up on a year since those first. Yeah, it was a very different game then too.
Yeah.
Right. It was. I mean, I think
A tank.
Stefano. Right. Stefano. He posted some of the images from
Marksman.
and it's crazy. But when we see some of the the art stuff that's that we're working on right now, just kind of seeing what the game can be and will be, it's exciting. I mean, I just can't wait to see some of the weaponry, some of the VFX, especially the sound effects. I think I remember we had a pretty crazy upbeat background music to the game last year. That was like crazy.
I think we
That
were
was intense.
testing. We were
Mortal
pulling
Kombat?
out different. Yeah, I know at one point we had Mortal Kombat playing. We were playing a bunch of different stuff just to trying to figure out what the sound was going to be like.
Yeah.
That was a great way to do it. I think. Let me ask you guys this: do you feel like this is going to be the kind of immersive experience that a player on a PC or a player on a console might experience?
I think it'll resonate with console players who like action games and maybe like some strategy and are into combat with tactics and strategy involved. That's not just button mashy. You really have to think about what you're doing in this game. You can't just fire. You're going to fail if you just fire off your abilities in succession. You have to think about what you're doing.
That's why I get my ass kicked all the time.
Yeah, so I think it definitely will resonate with players who are used to a little bit more depth in their combat, a little bit more action oriented.
Yeah, I think what we're bringing over is skill play. So less RNG and more skill. I mean, you could almost say no RNG, but there will be some inevitably. But mainly a skill-based game, right? And that's what console players are. They're looking for the skill. Most console players, unless Switch maybe is a little different, but most console players are looking for challenges and skill. that PvP experience. And that's something that I haven't played a ton of mobile games, but the ones I've played haven't been that, right? They're like cash grabs. They're I don't know. They're more PvE focused initially, and then they might show you some PvP stuff later. But like, they're still not skill based. It's still a lot of RNG. They're easy. They're not very deep. So I think those are some of the things that we're bringing to the table in Gen O that I haven't really seen in the mobile landscape.
Yeah.
So let me just ask real quick. Do you guys? And I'm just trying to get back to a point here. Can mobile games be immersive?
Absolutely, I think. And I think we're. I don't want to, be too bold with this, but I think we're almost like spearheading a new genre of like a competitive game that is, native to mobile that can have that very, very high skill ceiling. It's not capped at how many chests you buy. Nate alluded to that, and that's my biggest gripe with mobile games. They inevitably become you pay for power, whether that's your time watching ads, or your money buying cards or whatever it might be. And I totally feel that way. I mean, the first time we were playing that tournament, or even playing Nate in the office, there were times where I wanted to throw my phone on the ground. And I was like, okay. I was cursing. The same thing I did on console. So when you asked, can it be as immersive as console? I was like, yeah. I mean, I don't want to throw my phone on the ground. But if it was a controller, that controller would have broken on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So.
What and I actually kind of want to go through each of you and ask the same question. What do you want people to know about, especially players? What do you want players to know about Generation Overdrive?
I think I kind of alluded to it a little bit, but just that it's not it's something that we're trying to develop for the players, and we're trying to give them the choice within the game. So it's not going to be a game that you're being hand-holded and shown what to do necessarily, but you're going to be thrown into a game, and there's going to be a certain level of depth that you're not going to initially get. You're going to get the base level, but over time you'll start developing that depth, kind of like you do in other MOBAs and other these types of PvP type games. And that's what we're really going for. And I don't want to give away too much, but that depth comes in a variety of and whether it's called depth or breadth or whatever, it comes in a variety of different ways, right? And those are the things we're working on right now, providing the characters, and it's player first. So we really want to push that player first narrative and listen to the players, and give you guys what you want.
Yeah, I'd say that I think players are going to have a lot of fun. I'd want them to know that they're going to have a lot of fun choosing their characters, choosing their squad. There's going to be a lot of choices for them to choose the kind of characters that they relate with. They'll be able to jump into the action really quickly and very easily, so it's going to be very accessible to them. So they're going to be able to have fun really quickly, but they're going to have fun also exploring the characters, exploring the tactics, and develop over time. Like Nate's saying, they'll be able to learn and grow with the game and get better over time. So there's a lot for them to master, as it were, as far as getting into the game. So yeah, and I think that I'd want them to know that there's a lot of fun, depth, and challenge for them to experience in this game.
Steven?
Yeah.
No, Tim?
Yeah, I just want. I mean, I agree with Nate and Mario. I think first and foremost, this is to the players. This is your game. We're gonna, incorporate as much of your feedback and back into the game as possible. And at the same time, kind of respect, kind of try to put back, what a game's supposed to be, in less of a money grab, but more of what real players want.
That's starting to sound kind of like a line. Is that just a a BS corporate statement they're trying to make here, or is that something
mean-
that you guys genuinely feel? It's like honestly, it's you're gonna hear EA go out there and say, we're about the players, and then they're gonna put loot boxes into everything. How are we doing it different?
So 100% that is not a line, and gamers should know that this really is about them. This really is their game. So that's a great point that you brought up, Tim. We're always looking for feedback from our users, so we reach out to our players very often, and we're getting their feedback, listening to them, listen to their feedback, and as our development cycle has a lot of those touch points that are pivotal to how we iterate on the game. So our players are central to this concept. So we really want to develop this with their feedback in mind. It's one of the core tenets of Chant 6. So that is wholeheartedly, that is a genuine statement on the part of this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
No, I just want to add to anyone listening in on this, I'd encourage you guys to join our Discord and to provide us good feedback. We and test us to see if we really incorporate your feedback into our game. And so I really want to challenge those, folks that are listening in on this. But I think to what Mario said, that's those are our core tenets, and we're gonna, as much as possible, incorporate those into the game as we can.
Yeah, and I
Hear
think
that, folks? Hold Tim's feet to the fire.
I think what you said, Sean, too, is comparing EA, because that's what EA says, and that's what a lot of big AAA studios say. But then they don't produce that, right? So it's like, we can say that now, but the proof is in the pudding. So when we actually soft launch, whatever, then we'll show. That's when we'll show you, really, truly, right?
Well,
Those are our statements.
They can also see it early if they go and sign up for our playtest, right?
Yep, and that too.
Yeah, and if it's one thing that I want players to know is, our mission here at Chant 6 is to, really focus on the player and create, this authentic experience. And we challenge each other every day on, what does that mean? And I would, you can jump on our Discord channel, on our social media channels, and message us, and you're not going to get a canned response. You're going to get one of us on the screen.
You're probably going to get, if you email, you are going to get a canned response. Sorry, it's that's just a problem of having 7 people working full-time on a game.
But join us on Wednesdays. We play. We make it a priority to play, and a thing that we keep saying about this game is, let's find the fun first, and the rest will figure itself out. And it's not, hey, how are we gonna eke, or where should we put this advertisement? Where should we put this chest box? Where should we, have players pay 99 cents for extra life? None of those things have been in our discussions yet. And
we don't have a monetization strategy at this point.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing, because we're really focused on really diving deep into, okay, why is this character important? And what I would want to say, if it was one thing, we're not another company that just says we put players first. We act on those things. We actually, like Sean said, we don't have a monetization plan, because we don't believe as a company that that's what players come to play games for. They come to play games because they're fun. And so, that's one of our efforts, to put players first. And so I would love for anybody watching to join us on Discord, join our community play days, give us feedback. And that'd be awesome.
Thanks, gentlemen. I think we've hit all the major points. Good job.
Great.
Yeah.
It's good seeing you guys. Good
Cool.
seeing your face virtually.
Good seeing you guys.
So close, Mario.
So
Good seeing your face.
Good seeing literally every pore in your face.
That's my nose tears.